The new cancel culture. Praise Kirk or get fired. According to the Washington Post, dozens of Americans have lost their jobs over social media posts criticizing conservative activist Charlie Kirk after his assassination. And to be clear, I think it was horrible he was assassinated, and I'm hoping for full punishment if someone is, if the current suspect who's been arrested is convicted. An assistant dean at Middle Tennessee State University, a FEMA data analyst, a Carolina Panthers staffer, and even MSNBC analyst Matthew Dowd were all terminated or suspended after remarks deemed insensitive. MSNBC President Rebecca Cutler said Dowd's words were inappropriate, insensitive, and unacceptable. Here's the irony. Kirk himself openly boasted the January 6th insurrection. On January 5th, he tweeted, "The historic event will likely be one of the largest and most consequential in American history. Turning Point Action and Students for Trump are sending more than 80 buses full of patriots to DC to fight for this president." Afterward, he downplayed the violence, insisting, it was not an insurrection. Yet the riot left real casualties. U.S. Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick died the next day after suffering a stroke following assaults by rioters. Protester Ashley Babbitt was killed as she tried to break into the speaker's lobby. Kirk praised those who stormed the Capitol, even those connected to violence. But today, anyone who points out his record risks being canceled. Conservatives long warned of cancel culture. What we see now here is its inversion. Not the left purging dissent, but a demand that Americans publicly honor a man who once cheered on an attack that killed a police officer. Punish those who won't. Okay, what's the real message here? Of course, it's a tragedy that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. But we now live in this bizarro world of cancer culture, where anyone who wants to criticize Charlie Kirk, their careers are over. No criticism is allowed. That's political correctism. That's right-wing wokeism. And it's a huge, huge problem. Let's not forget, not saying he deserved it, but this was the guy who cheered on the attacks on our country, on police officers on January 6th. And let's not forget, people died because of the violence of January 6th, and Charlie Kirk endorsed it. Okay, let's dig a little deeper here. Yes, there have been times when the so-called left in America, whatever that is, has violated, has protested a little too strongly. Oh my gosh, Aziz Ansari made a date uncomfortable. Let's end his career. Okay, in retrospect, that went way too far. But the idea that no one can criticize Charlie Kirk without having their career ended, that is cancel culture going too far. Now, if you invite someone to a family funeral and the person's saying nasty things about the person in the casket in front of loved ones, okay, wildly inappropriate. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about, Matthew Dowd making perfectly fact-based observations about the career of Charlie Kirk and some of the more inflammatory, incendiary things he promoted, seeing his career over, or at least canceled as a commentator for MSNBC. And we're seeing it again and again and again. As I mentioned in the newsread, it's happening in mom and pop companies, small companies, bigger companies, where if someone is perceived to have said something that hurt my feelings, if I'm a MAGA lover and a Charlie Kirk, if it hurts my feelings, you deserve to lose your job. Now, where have we heard about that before? Oh yeah, that's what conservatives have been telling us is wrong with the so-called left cancel culture in America. And now it's come back stronger than ever. I don't know if it's a parody, a satire, but this is the real problem. Right-wing cancel culture is growing. It's growing every single day in America, and it is the real problem. Again, I want to stress, Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick died the day after the attacks, in large part, according to medical analysis, the stress created from being attacked. He did die of a stroke the very next day. Matthew Dowd, fired from a cushy perch as a contributor at MSNBC. Dozens of other workers have been fired or suspended. And yet, Kirk bragging about sending buses of patriots to fight our own United States government, to participate in violence, that gets a free pass. So we are living in a world where there's simply no accountability. and right-wing wokeism is running amok. I'm TJ Walker. I want to thank you for spending time with me today. If you saw anything here you like, please like it, comment on it, share it, and come back tomorrow. Thanks.